Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 26 of Was I in the Wrong? Before we get into our stories for today, our usual housekeeping, please remember to engage with the content if you are watching on YouTube. Comment your thoughts on the stories, like it, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review if you liked it and share it with a friend. You can also click the plus icon to follow so you'll automatically be notified when new episodes go live. And if you are following along on socials, comment, share, and be sure to follow along for more. All right, and on to our stories for today. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/AITAH. AITAH for refusing to babysit my sister-in-law's kids after I saw text messages between her and my mother-in-law saying horrible things about me. I, 26 female, am married to my husband, 28 male. I don't have the best relationship with his family, but have always been civil. I've never had a problem with my sister-in-law, 30 female, but there was always some tension between us. She asked me 2 months ago to babysit her children since she likes going out with her girlfriends on weekends, but never got the time because of the kids, and plus I don't work weekends. My husband thought this would be a great way to bond with her kids, 4 female and 7 male, and smooth the tension between me and my sister-in-law. I thought a few weekends here and there wouldn't hurt, but she was also refusing to pay since I'm family. I didn't want to without payment, but I did want to make my husband happy and keep the peace, because I knew she was going to cause drama in his family if I didn't, so I said yes. It wasn't so bad, and the kids are nice and respectful, plus she paid for food. Fast forward to this weekend. I saw a notification on my sister-in-law's phone, who was sitting next to me on Friday at a family dinner, between my mother-in-law and sister-in-law talking shit about me, saying stuff like I'm annoying. I was shocked because I had been babysitting her kids for free and been very nice to her. I confronted both of them with my husband, who said it wasn't a big deal and to drop it, but I was enraged. They both said I had no right to snoop and crossed a line, but eventually they gave a half-hearted apology. I was still mad at them and my husband for not sticking up for me. My sister-in-law asked me if I could babysit on Sunday. I said no and told her I was shocked at the audacity for her of even asking. Now her, my husband, and his family are mad and saying I'm overreacting and blowing things out of proportion. I think I'm in the right, but my husband isn't speaking to me and is sleeping in the guest room. So Reddit, am I the asshole? No. I feel like I've seen... No, OP, you are right. You are not the asshole. You are not overreacting. It's weird. I feel like I've seen so many of these stories lately where... things come to a head because the husband just continually does not stick up for the wife. His family is against her, and he just always thinks it's not a big deal. It's amazing how many of these I've seen, and I feel for these people who ended up in families that don't like them. Before I ever got married, I always thought, oh, it doesn't matter if the family likes you or not. You're marrying him, you're not marrying them. If they don't like you, so what? And then I got married. And I was lucky enough to marry into a family where they do like me. And that's when I realized how important it is. It just makes your life so much easier when everyone gets along. Everyone is truly kind to each other in front of their faces and behind their backs. Yeah, it matters. It makes things easier. But this is not yes, the family's a big part of the problem, but this isn't necessarily a family problem. This is a him problem and a you problem. So the reason why it's a you problem is because you didn't want to say yes and you did it anyway to keep the peace and to make him happy. I don't think that doing something that makes you unhappy or doing something that you're uncomfortable with ever truly keeps the peace. Because when you're doing something that you didn't want to do to make other people happy, you are building resentment. And you did make that choice. You didn't want to, especially because you weren't getting paid to do it. You should have said no, but you didn't. You said yes. That's the only part where you were wrong. Your husband is wrong for never sticking up for you, for being on their side in this, which is not surprising. He's wrong. He's the one who's overreacting when he went to the guest room. He made it that big of an issue. He blew it out of proportion. I'm glad they at least gave a half-hearted apology That's better than not admitting that they were wrong at all. I don't think you have to just accept that and go along with it. You never wanted to babysit in the first place, so tell them so. Say, I'm not only saying no because of the things you said about me that were hurtful. I'm saying no because I never wanted to. I only did it to make my husband happy, and I'm done with that now. He can go ahead and be unhappy. I'm done making myself unhappy to put smiles on other people's faces. As they say, you need to put your own oxygen mask on before you can help others. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying leave him. I'm saying therapy. If he is open to it, I think therapy can possibly... I've seen way more extreme situations of this where the husband is much more attached to his family than it seems like this is. Much more continual and deeply ingrained, like hurtful things against the wife. If he's open to it, I would do couples therapy, and hopefully that can help him see the error of his ways in continually choosing his family of origin instead of his created family. But, at the end of the day, if that doesn't work and you are still singled out, they're being mean to you, he's being mean to you, he's not sticking up for you, he's not taking your side, what's the point? What's the point? He doesn't respect you. He doesn't care how you feel about the situation. He only wants them to be happy. He wanted you to babysit so his sister would be happy. He wanted you to babysit so she wouldn't cause drama. He never cared how you felt in any of this. And that right there tells you everything. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/AITA_WIBTA_public. AITA for not letting my cousin have my old car, even though my aunt says I owe the family for being successful. Immediately know you never owe anyone anything for your success. You worked for it. No. I, 26 male, work in tech and recently bought my first new car. It's nothing crazy, just a reliable sedan. My old car, a 2009 Civic, still runs but has a ton of miles on it. I plan to sell it cheap or trade it in. So my aunt, who's my mom's sister, heard about the new car through our family group chat. She texted me saying her son, 19 male, could really use a starter car and asked when I could drop it off. The audacity. Not only does she want to give me, but she didn't even ask about it. If it could be a give me, so how soon is it arriving? What the heck, people? And asked when I could drop it off. There was no question about buying it. It was just straight up asking when I could give it to them. I told her I wasn't planning to just give it away, but I'd sell it at a reasonable price. It's not worth much, but I've taken good care of it and it's mine. She immediately got snippy and said, I make enough money now. She insisted it wouldn't kill me to do something nice for my cousin. Honestly, she's always had this weird resentment toward me for getting out of our small town and doing well. Her tone turned passive-aggressive really fast. She said things like, some of us didn't get handed life on a silver platter, even though I worked full-time through college and took out loans. Now she's telling the rest of the family I'm selfish and that I've forgotten where I came from. Even my mom gently suggested I should consider giving them the car just to avoid trauma. No! But I don't think I owe anyone a free car just because I make a decent income now. I offered to sell it fairly. They refused, and I left it at that. So, AITA. No, no, no. 1,000 times no. You are not the asshole. Your aunt is 1,000% the asshole. She's entitled. The pot is calling the kettle black here, for sure. She was like, oh, you were handed life on a silver platter. You forgot where you came from, blah, 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 blah. No, she's being a brat. Your aunt is being a brat. She's acting like a child by not only asking for this, but fully expecting it. And your mom is spineless for even suggesting, even entertaining the idea that you should consider giving it to them just to avoid drama. Clearly, she is used to this behavior from her sister. And I'm really proud of you for not giving in like the rest of them, just fold like a damn deck of cards. I'm so glad that you You offered to sell it. That's what you wanted to do. It's yours to do what you want with. They refused and you left it alone. Honestly, I would probably take it even a step further. And just turn around and hurry up and sell it so fast. So if they do have the nerve to ask again, I think they will. You can say, oh, sorry, I already sold it. I offered to sell it to you at a fair price before and you said you didn't want to buy it, so I sold it to someone who did. Fair's fair. You are right. Please don't ever question yourself in that when you are dealing with these entitled little snots. Whew. Gosh, people. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/am I overreacting? AIO about my father not wanting me to take birth control. This one is tagged for family/in-laws. Hi Reddit, I've gone back and forth on whether or not to post this. I feel like I can't get actual advice about the situation from anyone in my life without it being biased. So I'm sharing this here to get an unbiased input. This is a long one. For some context, I'm a 19 female college commuter and still lives at home with my parents. I have never had a boyfriend and have never been intimate with or even kissed a guy in my life. So a couple months ago, I was talking to a friend, 21 female, about my menstrual cycle and how my cramps have been getting worse. Every month I have to suffer through this horrible pain that basically makes me unable to move. I typically take Midol to help with the pain, but recently the medicine hasn't been working as well anymore. And I am too scared to take over the recommended dosage on the bottle. My friend said that she had the same issues as me, and that her doctor had put her on birth control. She said that her cramps are completely gone now, and that birth control is a lifesaver. Now, a week and a half ago, I was finishing up eating dinner with my parents at home. I figured I could bring it up to my mom about my plans to make a doctor's appointment, and that I was going to ask my doctor about birth control. So very casually, I told her, and she responded with how birth control made her gain a bunch of weight when she was my age, and that I should be very careful if I start taking it. My father interrupts my mom. To give him the benefit of the doubt, he had been drinking all day. That's not an excuse. And says to me, if you ever get birth control, I'm throwing it away. This caught me by surprise because I have never heard someone say something like that before. I asked him why he would do that, and he said, because I don't want you whoring yourself around. And after he said that, I went into my room, packed a suitcase, and texted a couple friends to come stay down the beach with me. I stayed at the beach over Father's Day, and I didn't text or call my dad at all since the argument. My father and I have always had a rocky relationship. He was always physically present, but emotionally absent. He goes to strip clubs, flirts with other women in front of us, and has cheated on my mom multiple times. My parents are still married and live together, but you would think they are roommates that hate each other if you ever live with them for the day. My father even calls my mom and I his roommates. But I will say he has a really good job. He does pay all the bills, help me pay for a big chunk of my car, and he pays my college tuition fully. Anyway, my mom got upset with me that I didn't wish my father Happy Father's Day, and I guess my father told my grandparents about that too. So now my family is upset with me, and they're saying that I'm being disrespectful to him. My friends also thought I should have at least sent a simple Happy Father's Day, but what he said to me really upset me, and I thought it wasn't a very fatherly thing to say, whether he was sober or not. So here I am. I came home last Wednesday and it has been really awkward. I can't tell if he wants to have a conversation with me or what, but I don't know what to say to him, honestly. He is really busy with work trips, so he isn't home long enough for me to have a productive conversation. Not that I really want to have a discussion with him anyway. If I could avoid him for the rest of my life, I really would, but that might just be me overreacting. Edit. Hi everyone, I would like to start by thanking each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to listen to my story and comment. I had no idea my post would reach so many people. I thought I would get a couple comments, but never over 200. I am overwhelmed with the support and am trying to read each comment and respond. I genuinely appreciate the advice and information you all are giving me. I am learning so much from everyone, whether it's from experiences being shared or actual medical information. I appreciate all the advice and education I can get. I am taking everything I'm learning and applying it to my life. I feel so informed and confident now on the next steps I need to take. So thank you, thank you, thank you to you kind and caring people for taking time out of your day to listen to me and help me. I will be forever grateful for all the awesome advice you all gave me. You all helped me significantly. Heart emoji. Okay, I'm glad to know, at least in the end, she got the help she needed. By the time I'm reading this, she received 368 comments. And this was posted 7 days ago. So it did kind of blow up. Okay. I don't think she's overreacting. What he said about whoring herself around was incredibly hurtful and psychologically harmful. And also really implies how little he thinks of her. That he thinks, if she had the option of the security, knowing she had birth control, that she would just go start sleeping with everybody when she's never even dated. That's wild. Drinking or not, typically you don't say things that you don't mean just because you're drunk. It lowers your inhibitions, so you say things that you already thought that you just wouldn't normally say out loud. So I believe he fully meant what he said, for whatever reason. Honestly, whenever the story started, I kind of expected it to go that way. I'm glad your mother didn't completely shut you down. She was just like, oh, this was my experience. It wasn't a good one. I gained weight. I didn't like that. But yeah, it's incredibly common for doctors to prescribe birth control as a means of alleviating menstrual pain. Very common. But I fully understand where you're coming from. When I was a teenager, I have a sister, and we both had really rough periods. She had a lower pain tolerance than me, so hers were worse. Parents took her to the doctor, the doctor recommended birth control, so it was the only thing that could help with her cramping and everything. So they put her on birth control. I forget how young in the teens, but pretty young. So they put her on birth control. All right, it helped her. Well, a couple years, 1 or 2 years later, my periods got worse. So I asked for the same thing. I want to go to the doctor, get birth control for my cramping. And I was told no. And it sucked, knowing that there was an option out there to help me and that I would not be permitted to have access to it. It's really psychologically harmful to know that these people, your parents, who are supposed to care so much about you, who are supposed to do everything in their power to take care of you, would withhold beneficial medical treatment from you. It's so harmful. So yeah, whenever I was your age, I was 18 or 19, whenever I went to college and I had that little bit of freedom, I still lived at home. I would, come back every day, come back every weekend. But as long as I was gone, college schedules is not like high school schedule. You have gaps in your day. So while I had that freedom and I was gone all day, I went to the health department and I got on birth control to help with my cramps. And I felt so relieved. I was so happy because it really did help the way that it was supposed to. So yeah, I don't blame you for packing a bag and going with your friends. I mean, how were you supposed to feel safe staying in that house with him when he said, oh, you're going to do something medically to take care of yourself, to ease a pain that you experience monthly, and I'm going to take that away from you. I'm going to take your pills and throw them away because you don't deserve to feel better. No, that is cruel. That is senseless. And I don't understand why. So I don't blame you for being so upset that you just wanted to leave. I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you for staying gone. The part where you say, him and your mom are basically just roommates. It seems like they hate each other, but he has a good job. That doesn't excuse anything. That helps, that makes it easier, or maybe that's just enough of a reason to stay because it's providing a level of financial security, but that's the only security he's providing, financial. He's never been there emotionally. He's still not. So if I were you, I don't know if you're working or not right now. If you're not, I would get a job. You said he bought your car. Is it in your name? If not, I would try, maybe use your mom to help you, but I would try to get that car signed over into your name. So you know that you have that security. And I would start working, saving money, and try to get out of this house as soon as you can, because it just doesn't seem like the safest place for you. Not that I think you would be physically harmed, but you're not secure like you should be. So yes, you're right. You are not overreacting. You're just in a really shitty situation. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/Am I the Asshole? AITA for refusing to keep paying black tax even though my family is struggling. And this one has already been judged by Reddit. This one has been judged not the asshole. So let's see. I'm a 28-year-old African woman working in a decent job as a teacher. I'm not rich, but I'm doing okay. Ever since I started working, I've been expected to help out my extended family, paying for groceries, covering school fees for cousins, sending money to my mom monthly, etc. In our culture, it's seen as a duty, what people call black tax. I understood this growing up. I've helped where I could, but lately it's become too much. My siblings now expect me to cover everything, and my mom doesn't say no to them. I'm expected to help with bills, car repairs, and now even a wedding contribution for my younger cousin's wedding. I finally said no more. I've started saving for my own life, therapy, travel, and a deposit for my own apartment. I told my family that I'm not a bank, and they need to start standing on their own feet. I told my mom I will only help with the needs, and she cried. My aunt called me whitewashed. My brother said I've become selfish and forgotten where I came from. But I've spent years putting their needs first. I've missed opportunities, drained my savings, and lived paycheck to paycheck while they bought new phones and clothes. I still love them, but I'm tired of carrying everyone. AITA for choosing myself? Absolutely not. No, and I know this can be common in certain cultures, but I don't care what has been common in your past. You don't owe them that. It was your parents' responsibility to raise you to adulthood. Just because they did that, you don't then owe them in return. You don't start taking care of their life, affording their life instead of your own just because you're an adult now and you have a decent job. That's not fair. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Your parents are supposed to want to see you thrive, to see you succeed, and not constantly keep pulling you back to make sure that you can't get too far away or you can't succeed too much. I think the things that they said were just hurtful and just trying to push you back down and make you feel guilty so you would stay compliant in the system that supports them over you. You are not the asshole. You are right for choosing yourself. I'm just sorry that it took you this long to get here. All right, that is 4 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast.